Hey, everybody. I want to welcome you to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm super excited because I have a superstar on here with us today that's going to talk to you a
Oh, I'm
little
blushing.
bit.
Sorry.
He's No, it's great. He's going to talk to you, though, about how to automate your business and ultimately how to automate your life. But before we get into that, first, let me go ahead and cue my intro. Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm your host, Matt Milia, and in this podcast, we'll talk about the real, raw, uncut business success secrets you won't find anywhere else. Follow my journey from entry level to CEO. We discuss real actionable items you can plug into your business right away. To subscribe to our weekly top tips, you can go to www.mattpodcast.com and join our community of elite high-level performers. And if you're interested in our inside sales company, you can go to www.appointmentstoday.com to jump on a free strategy call. And now, stay tuned for our podcast. All right. What's going on, Scott? How are you?
Good, Matt. I'm doing great, man. I love the intro. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that means a lot coming from you too, because you worked for Viral, which is a video marketing and all video. So, I mean, that really does mean a lot coming from you. So
Yeah.
Seriously, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So Scott, I mean, for everyone who has been living under a rock, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I've been working in the real estate industry for, man, almost 20 years now, on and off. I mean, I started as an assistant loan processor, which was terrible. I basically got fired. I kind of fired myself because it was just like, that wasn't my type of work.
Right.
Then I became a certified home appraiser, which I'd put in a lot of hours. Did that until the market crashed in Arizona. Got very heavily into like the sales trade, learning sales, B2B sales, and then kind of circled back to real estate and started working with Viral, as you mentioned, helped build that company up. And then about roughly 3 years ago, I came over to be the CEO of Real Synch and run this company and, step into the integration automation world, still working with real estate agents, teams, brokers to help them build their business, maximize profits and efficiencies. And that's kind of been something that I've been doing for a decade now, is really helping real estate businesses,
I love that. And I want to circle back to something you said. It's always funny when you're in something that you know is not in alignment with who you are, what you're really designed to do. I worked in a job it was reselling software, and I liked it, but it was a very, like, the person that was there was very highly technical. They did not have much of a personality. They were always very quiet and they were engineers, basically, is what they were. And
Yeah.
I mean, there are some engineers that are like I got some great friends that are engineers. You never know, but there are some that they're very like, I guess you call it like a C personality. They don't talk to anybody. They're just sitting there all day. That was what I was surrounded by. I was the loud D personality, and they're like, oh, this guy's got to get out of here. That was the only job I'd ever lost in my entire life. But it led me led me into real estate, because I was a loan officer, then went there into software. And then, now, I mean, I've been in real estate for the past decade, and we're both in very similar types of industries where we're helping out real estate agents. Of course, what I'm doing is the cold calling, and not necessarily just cold calling, but also just calling their leads, giving them speed to lead, having somebody there that can have a good high level conversation. What with your software, with Real Synch, is your software able to help companies that have leads, but they just don't have like a sequence on how to respond to them? Like, what does Real Synch do in layman's terms for the person who's maybe not familiar with it?
Yeah. No, totally, man. So, our SaaS platform, you can come in, sign up, pick the integration that you need. Ideally, that you need an integration that we already have. So it's very simple, 4 clicks and you can hit activate. So for instance, we got a couple partners, we partner with Dotloop and SkySlope and a lot of the CRMs within the real estate space, like Boomtown, Fall Out Boss, Sierra, Brivity. So there's a lot of integrations we have with your CRM, which is a lot of times your hub, and some other applications that you may be using that are either lead funnel or KPI type things like Sisu. We have a very large partnership with them where we're running a lot of data into their platform. So you kind of know ahead of time coming in. We're actually on the brink right now, literally tomorrow we're releasing a Google Contacts bi-directional integration with Follow Boss, Sierra, Boomtown, and Real Geeks, which is super, super exciting. And you can sign up for that for like 20 or 30 bucks a month. It's so cheap. So that's awesome. But yeah, you come in and click, and then that's it, right? Also, we're doing some customization type stuff. So we'll have teams come in that have specific needs that aren't just like an out of the box solution, that they need more customization, or it's a custom project, or they need us to work in their Salesforce or their HubSpot or things of that nature, right? So we'll create a, an scope of work, SOW, and do that. We have, a services kind of arm for that as well. So lots of different automation type things as well, right? So a good example would be, there's a lot of agents or teams out there that generate leads through all these lead sources that go into an inbox, but don't make it all the way into the CRM because they don't know how to set up an eParse, or the CRM doesn't set it up for them. That's a simple way that you come to us and we can just do that for you really quick in like an hour and like crank out a bunch of them, right? That's a good, simple example. Another example is we worked with a team, like the biggest real estate team in Indiana, or not Indiana, Ohio, the Young team, and we helped them build out their entire HubSpot. It was like a 4-month project. So it really just depends on, what side of the spectrum you're on and what your needs are, but we're happy to help when it comes to customization and automation.
Your pricing is insane. And I say that in the best possible way because you're like, oh God, what's about to happen? No, I looked on your website and I got to tell you, I'm shocked because I use Zapier. I use a bunch of API integrators that most people are like, what is that? Because like we actually have a full stack developer on our team, which is very rare. But a lot of it is because, of course, with us being an inside sales company, we have to have somebody that does that. And that developers are very expensive. So,
once you hire one developer, you know how expensive it is.
Yes. And here's the crazy thing. You actually have to learn a thing or two about developing because you need to know how to hold them accountable. Because if you don't know what exactly it is that they're doing, you just sit there and you're like, oh, that sounds right. It's going to take 7 months to build out one API. Wonderful. Like,
yeah,
I've had stuff like that happen. And I'm like, this is not good. I had to learn. So my point is that I look at just your pricing and I look at it even in comparison to Zapier and what you guys are doing compared to what they're doing, it's hands down better because you're doing the grunt work. You're doing all like the heavy lifting and you're making it pretty. You're making it look good and you're making it all work without having to be there and do all these little clicks and all these integrations, because I've gone in Zapier, I've built out tons of different zaps and tons of different integrations, but it takes a long time. And I've gotten to a point where I would get so agitated. I'm like, I don't know what I'm forgetting. I'm pushing this off to someone else. And sometimes it's something as simple as adding a 1 to a digit of a phone number so that it will go into your system. And you don't think about that stuff because you don't have that mentality. Yeah. And you lose time, you lose leads, you lose efficiency. So for everyone that's watching, you got to check this company out, realsynch.com. I'm definitely going to be jumping in head first and finding out more about how we can integrate, because right now we're using like 6 or 7 different API integrations that we probably could just optimize everything.
Right, totally. So yeah, when it comes to, you start thinking about Zapier. Zapier is good for like a one-off type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Very, very simple thing that you need, but it can get very complicated very quickly, right? And in our integrations, we pre-built smart filters into the integration to where like we understand real estate teams and needs in your business, right? That's the big difference. So like when we build out this integration, we've already been talking to teams and what they need out of it, right? From one side and the other, the source and the target, right? A to B. Mm-hmm. So we build in all these smart filters. So all that data is automatic and you don't have to worry about deciding what trigger and what data in Zapier like that, right? It's just done for you. Yeah.
Why didn't I know about you guys like 4 or 5 years ago? I wish I did.
We didn't really exist past then.
Oh, that's good. All right. Well,
I feel better about yourself. Yeah.
I do feel better about that because I look at we got SQL Server. We had Microsoft. I mean, we had all these different data. I can't remember the database. It was like a big database mining thing. But I mean, we went back and forth with how to deliver. Because for us, the number one thing with being a call center is data deliverables, meaning, hey, how many phone calls were made? How many conversations took place? What happened in those conversations? And then moving it to the next logical sequence of, okay, well, this person said, they're renting out their house right now and they're going to be renting it out for another 4 to 5 months, but then they want to sell their house. So having it set up a trigger in place where we have more than just a reminder, but we have some sort of automation, something built out to make sure that we reach out to that person within that time frame so that we stay in front of them and stay top of mind. Do you guys help with a lot of stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, a lot of the CRM systems obviously have, task reminders and follow up and all that stuff for the agents. But if you're in your scenario, right, if you're working in your own system and you want the agent to have that visibility on that lead in their system, that's where you come in, right? Where you go and set a task and the task funnels over here. The note update in your system funnels over to the CRM, right? So like we're that bridge of data based on whatever triggers are like the most valuable in your system that you need to get that data over here, right, into the other system. So that's where we live. We live moving the, it's called middleware for a reason. We're moving the data from one side to the other, and making sure that it's all in real time and you're getting accurate data. You're not having to worry about human data entry and human error. When it comes to a lot of that, or just people not doing it because they don't want to do the work, right, of entering in that data, right?
Do you have any stories, Scott, about companies? And I mean, you don't have to throw names out, but I'm curious because I already know what it is that you guys are doing, because from a 1,000-foot overview, you're in a way you're replacing what some administrative person where someone might be taking hours at a time uploading data, just inputting information. Do you have any stories where you've actually helped save people some money with one-off integrations and different things they were doing and people they were hiring to do all this work?
Yeah, so a good friend and client of mine, Jason, he came to us. He uses Follow Up Boss, and he had a lot of outside like forms and like systems where he was having to have a virtual assistant do inputs, and then it would populate in that system. Then they would have to go and like look at it one screen and then go enter in all that data into Follow Up Boss. And he's a big business, so it was a lot of work. Oh, yeah. And he was able to take that employee, and I love the idea. It's not really necessarily even saving money. It just reallocated that person to doing more sales productive activities rather than sitting there manually entering data. Like there's a lot of administrative work that's positive work that has to get done, administrative that VA could do, right? Or sales activity type things, right? Or marketing, right? But like looking at this screen and then entering that same data over here, that is like literally the worst thing you can hire a virtual assistant to do. There's a way to automate that solution 100%. And so that's what we did for Jason. So when that form got filled out by the client in their intake form or whatever, that data then we push directly into all these custom fields in Follow Up Boss form.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and it actually gives you, it helps bridge the gap between someone who is, just data entry all day long to, I love that reallocation, because there's so many times where like I have people that they were literally doing manually. They would get the info from our dialing system. So I mean, we'd use 5.9, as the dialer.
Yeah.
They would go in, and then 5.9 didn't have any integration. They had nothing built out in between, where it would give you a chart, and then you'd have to literally sit there and decipher the numbers like you're some sort of data scientist. And it was so bad the way they had it set up, where like you'd scroll down and it wouldn't tell you number of calls. So we had to build out like our own. It would help if I would have talked to you before all of this. But yeah, we had to build out our own little crawler that would go in there and grab the data and then move the data over to another platform and then drop it in there and then build an integration that would stream it out to other ones. So many folks, I feel like sometimes they take that reporting almost for granted because they don't see what goes into all of that. It's crazy.
They have no idea. And that's what you said is very insightful, Matt, because one of the things a lot of clients that have worked with us and gotten on calls and then worked through a project or us setting up integration or automation for them, they literally say it like flips the switch in their brain about how they look at their business and then how they look at adding any sort of system into their tech stack. They're thinking immediately like, how will this integrate? How will it automate? How will it make it more, our business more efficient? How we save time and money if we do this solution, right? And it just kind of flips away of how you look at your business from an automation standpoint, and an efficiency standpoint.
And I think too, you can add more gamification into what your business is, because what you measure gets improved. If you can't measure the output of your agent, and this is one of the things where I tell people, even in the coaching space, where they'll tell me, oh, I have this agent, they're a newer agent, but they're not hitting their numbers. Okay, well, tell me, how many calls are they making? Who are they calling? What are they going after? What are they looking at? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, well, what do you mean you don't know? Like, we have to establish a certain set of key performance indicators so that, because again, what gets measured gets improved. If you don't know what they're doing, and this is not just for real estate, this is for every business out there. If you've got a service or a product or something that you're selling that's tangible, that needs to get out to the people, and they don't know about your product or service, or they don't know that they don't know what numbers to measure to say, okay, this person's doing good, this person's not doing good. You have no baseline, you have no measurement. So you guys really are more than just integration. You're literally helping people establish the numbers they need to see every single day so they can look at their business and say, yes, this is a justifiable investment, or no, it's not.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, and one of our biggest partners is CC, which does all KPI type stuff, right? And so, the fact that like they can like a client can have their agents just work in their CRM, and then all the data ends up over here, and then they can go, oh, they did their job today.
Right.
Like, that's huge, right? Because that's what all you want. Like, if I was a team owner, like, I don't want my salespeople doing paperwork. I don't even want to make phone calls unless it's a hot lead and they're following up with someone. All they should be doing is selling. They should be face to face, selling the listing or selling the buy or whatever, and everything else can get done for them. That's how they're going to be most successful. That's what salespeople want. Salespeople want to just sell, right? So if you can take away all the other BS with automation, integration, all the nurture, the follow-up, the campaigns, all the leads are getting in there, all that stuff, then your business is going to flourish a lot more for sure.
And for everyone that's watching, again, the website's www.realsynch.com. And, I got to say, Scott, I mean, the one thing about this that to me is just so overlooked, how many systems you're condensing. And I don't think everyone realizes, because there's so many, like, I remember I used to use a system called Wufoo, or I think that's still, it's like
Wufoo Forms.
Wufoo Forms.
Yeah.
I would use that. And not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, shout out to Wufoo if you're still around. But Wufoo, you have these forms, and then we're like, okay, well, now we're going to get past that. We're going to go to Google Forms. Then we're going to go to these different quiz forms. And I mean, I feel like this could probably not only help just in real estate. You guys have some other stuff too that you guys do on other software sides, right? Like with ClickFunnels, for example, for people who are marketers. Do you guys have stuff that helps integrate the marketing to get the leads from one end to the other?
Yeah, absolutely. So, whether you have a website or IDX or ClickFunnels or whatever, any sort of form is like, pretty simple for us to integrate now, right? Or even like some of these forms you can set up yourself and it goes into like a Google Sheet,
right?
But like we can integrate the Google Sheet into your CRM, right? So like there's a lot of steps that if you just add an extra little step, you can keep using some of these systems, but you don't have to have anyone going into them and getting the data out of them. It all ends up in your CRM, right?
That's what my problem was. Because I love Wufoo. I would use it a lot. Same with Jotform. Like but the problem that I would have is I would go in there and I'm like, how do I get this thing to talk from one system to the other? Having that ability, I mean, it's a game changer. Yeah, it really, truly is.
Totally, man. And then, some systems need bi-directional, right? Or, you want data coming in, but then you also want to send data back out, right? And so, for us, we just continue to focus on building new integrations based on what clientele or teams are needing. For instance, we have another integration that should be done this week too. Man, my God. We've been working on these projects for a while, but it's called audience.co. It's like a robot that like writes handwritten cards, right? But you can send like campaigns. You can send like a birthday card, closing card, just whatever, happy anniversary. It's all campaigns. But now with the integration we built with Fall Boss and Boomtown, bidirectional, you can trigger that from the CRM. So you never have to go into the system. You just trigger the cards being written, and then written cards are going to go out and mailed, and all you did was click a button in your CRM. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So it looks like it's handwritten.
Oh yeah, you can't tell at all. It's amazing.
That's awesome. There's a company that does something like that, and it's funny because I work with a lot of people that work with that company, and I hear raving reviews. But what you guys are doing is taking it one step further, because you're still using that concept, but you're automating the concept. And the fact that I can set in a trigger or reminder saying, hey, Mr. Jones's birthday is on, Friday the 5th of October, and it'll just send out something to him based on that, hey, happy birthday from, XYZ real estate team. That's awesome. Or, well, any company. I'm sure you could do that with any organization.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, any company can use audience. It's not just for real estate.
So, Scott, I should have asked you what you guys aren't building and what you're not working on, because it sounds like you guys got some amazing things in place right now.
It's awesome. We do. And then, we continue to want to expand our roadmap based on what's going to be the most valuable thing for real estate brokers and teams, right? That's really our clientele. Obviously, we have people that are independent agents using our platform too, but it's mostly team and brokers. And some of that expansion is in the mortgage, right? We've integrated with Velocify, and then we're also on the precipice of starting an integration with Qualia, which is another title, and then we'll continue to expand that way. So the reality is that the idea is, as the lead comes in at the very top, that there's integration and automation and data flowing from there all the way to close for all the parties that are involved, which is mortgage, title, and the real estate team and agent, And so that's the intent, and that's what we're starting to do. And as we continue to add more applications and systems to our platform.
So, Scott, who is I know you said real estate agents, but who is your ideal client? Like, if there were a specific agent or an avatar that you were building out, what would the needs of that person be? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's honestly most real estate teams, no matter the size, whether they're 10, 15, 50, 100, it's really hard to find someone that is super IT tech savvy that you can put on payroll and make sure that they're getting things done, right?
Oh yeah.
You're not going to hire a developer, right? It's just not something that happens. And a lot of times you're putting your ops manager in charge of doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing, right? So, that's where we fit in, that we want to come in and help you and be that IT solution as well, or, whatever you want to call it, the service solution to kind of do a tech audit in a sense and go over your tech stack, poke some holes in it, figure out where you can set up some automation, where you can get rid of something. And that way you can get down to these 4 or 5 major systems that you have and make sure they're all speaking to each other.
I love it. We hired our developer in 2020. So, we hired obviously in a crazy time, but I had the same thing that everything that you just said. My ops manager was losing it, and was dropping balls everywhere, where integrations weren't getting completed, client conversations weren't taking place. He was even doing sales stuff in his defense. So he was really wearing a lot of hats. Yeah. And he was overlooking KPIs. He was, our kind of our liaison between the inside sales rep to the client. And he had just way too much stuff on his plate. And the integrations would always be everything else he would be doing at a level 8 or 9. but then we'd get to integrations and it was like a 2, a 3. And he would spend, I mean, there'd be times where he'd be up all night. He's like, oh, I finished the integration, but then he's dead tired the next day. And I'm like, that's not what I'm trying to build here. I don't want to have a sweatshop. I want to have a business that people can be happy, proud to come to, and at the same time look at it as if we're helping people grow. But when you're working all night long on integrations and tech stack solutions, it's very challenging. So your guys, essentially what you guys are doing is you're giving people back their clarity, giving them back their business, their automation, their integrations, which ultimately gives them back their time.
Yeah, time, peace of mind. You know, I've had clients say to me, like, I was losing sleep at night trying to figure out how to do this one thing and get this data from over here to there because, you know, it was costing me money and I had no visibility. I felt like I couldn't figure out, I couldn't see, right? And all it took was, you know, us setting up some integrations and boom, the guy's sleeping better at night, I tell you.
You guys probably have saved people so much money too. And I know we won't get into specific CRMs, but we all know that there's those CRMs that are extremely expensive. And they say they're going to do everything from the beginning until the end, but then they don't. And I would imagine that you guys have probably saved people a ton of money just by being able to consolidate what all those CRMs and extra platforms are doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of, you know, obviously we can always be adding more solutions, but we try to have solutions on our platform that allow people to come in for a pretty nominal fee and set up those integrations where it doesn't have to be something custom that, you know, gets more expensive, right? Or, you know, I mean, it is what it is. Like certain systems out there are, you know, they have plans to add product or add development to their platforms. And you know, as well as I do, that roadmaps get disrupted and developers and developing. It's a tough game out there. It's expensive and it takes time and it's never fast enough for anybody, you know.
And what you guys charge on the platform, and I mean, I won't go over that unless you want me to.
You can. I mean, it's not, you know.
$199 a month is insanely good pricing because I'm going to tell you right now, I probably pay about 5 or 6 times that in my Zapier bill. Like it's insane because of all the zaps that we have coming through. And obviously, of course, the bigger teams that we support, like I've got a lot of teams that are like, oh, hey, we want to know down to the minute what calls are being made, what's taking place. And then we want to see the calls come through live. I'm like, okay.
That's more expensive on Zapier. Now they changed their pricing.
Oh, yeah. And we had to change our pricing because of it. I'm like, okay, no problem. And now when I look at what you guys have and I see unlimited tasks, I'm like, that's pretty amazing. And that in itself, I mean, that in itself is worth its weight in gold. I mean, because I can't tell you, I mean, we've had months that we'll have like 190, 200 some odd thousand different tasks that are running that are, you know, of course, because we're doing one by one, lead by lead, that's really, it becomes very expensive. So what you guys are offering is amazing. And I mean, I can't see there being, I really don't see a solution better than what you guys have. So I'm sold on it. I love it. If our viewers aren't sold on it, get sold on it, give it a shot, try it out. I mean, what your one package, I think, which is like the lowest end one, is like $23 a month, which I think actually goes right in line with what Zapier is. It might even be a little bit lower. But the big thing with this and Zapier is you guys actually understand everything that needs to be done, and you're helping people do it. Essentially, if I'm understanding properly, you're actually giving people the framework on how to do all this stuff, where they don't have to figure it out on their own.
Absolutely, and it's much easier. You know, click, 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 activate. Right, like you don't have to go and actually figure out any code. Our UI is very easy to use. Also, if you need Google Contacts to integrate with one of those 4 CRMs I mentioned, again, I mentioned Boomtown, Fall Out Boss, Real Geeks, and Sierra, will be available tomorrow. We just releasing it actually today, which is crazy timing, Matt. If you use a promo code capital G Contacts, 20% off for life on the fee.
Wow. So G, and then is Contacts lowercase?
Yep. Capital G, then here, let me double check. While we're live, let me see. Adela, let's see what she just wrote it. Yep. G. Yeah, G Contacts.
Nice. All right, I already got it up. So that way everybody can see it. So yeah, G Contacts, and that is to get that's to get a discount off of, again, just so that we're all clear. What integrations does that get you a discount on?
Any, just you sign up and it's right. So you can see there's levels based on tasks, but you'll get to an unlimited amount at some point. It's unlimited users, unlimited tasks, unlimited integrations on our platform. For the $199, that's annual. $250 if you just do the monthly. Okay, and then but yeah, 20% off that fee. And the Google Contacts pretty awesome, man. It's like you can, when you set it up, you can hit the sync button, like hit the migration button when you're enabling it, and it'll pull all your Google Contacts and then dedupe them and then spit them into your CRM.
Are you serious? Are you serious right now?
Yeah, dude.
That's sick.
It's so sick. And then it's all in real time, bi-directional. So anytime you update the lead in your CRM, it's going to update in Google and vice versa. It's all in real time, back and forth.
I'm going to share something embarrassing on the podcast. I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm just
I love it. Good.
So I can't tell you how many times I'll have, I get, so 90%, maybe even more than 95% of our business is strategic relationships. So coaches, real estate brokers, mortgage agencies, they're the ones that refer us. We do a lot of word of mouth. Now I do some marketing, but I will tell you that when I'm doing the PPC marketing and stuff, I look at it as a leg of the business, not my primary source of bringing in business. So my biggest challenge that I have is that sometimes, and I've gotten really good at it as of probably the past 2 years, but when I first started the business, I was wearing every single hat of a business owner. Yeah. And there are so many contacts that I have in my Gmail alone, probably over 1,000 plus people like, oh, you should talk to this guy. This guy can help you grow, or they want this. Followed up with them once, maybe twice, maybe a few times. Never got them on the phone. Oh, okay, I'll add them into my CRM and put them on a drip. A lot of those people never got put onto a drip, or if they did, the drip is long over and done with, and I don't even know where they are anymore. So, and I switched from a very confusing CRM, and I won't say what it is just because I don't want to. It's a great CRM, but very confusing.
We get it.
Yeah, you know probably exactly what I'm talking about. And then I went from different CRMs throughout, and they were some of them were really confusing, some were easy. Then I finally found the perfect one, but I lost so many leads and so much data in translation. They're all in my Google, but I mean, am I going to go back to 2016 and say, okay, who was referred to me back in 2016? I don't know how to do that. I legitimately don't. So that is huge. So I'm definitely, you tell me when to roll it out. If you need beta testers or you just need someone, I mean, I'm in. I definitely, that's right there's probably like $100,000 in revenue for our company, because there are so many people I know that once I get them on the phone, they're going to go forward. They're going to move forward because they need the solution, but not having their information makes it kind of tough. So that's awesome.
What CRM are you using now? We don't talk about the other one, but which one are you using now?
I use Go High Level. I love Go High Level. I've used just about every single I've used a lot of different CRMs. I mean, being in the real estate space, I've used the $25 a month. I've used the $1,000 a month ones that, you see on ballparks and you see them all across, which that's a great system, but super expensive. Salesforce, amazing system. Just, I've used HubSpot. I mean, you name it. I mean, I probably use it or have someone on my team that's had interaction with it. And I will tell you, Go High Level has been probably one of the easiest, the most seamless, and and for everybody that wants to use it, reach out to me. I'll send you a link. So, because I mean, hey, I actually refer them all the time. They're amazing and really easy to use.
Awesome. I love it. That was what we were looking at to add the platform as well at some point. So it's good to know.
Yeah, I figured that you guys were using, I mean, like maybe even like a Salesforce or something. I mean, I love Salesforce, but it is one of the more robust platforms, and I mean, you really got to learn the ins and outs to get good at it. So
we use HubSpot, and we've
I like
gotten pretty
HubSpot.
good with automation with it and everything else. So
Nice.
internally, Salesforce, it's like you got to have someone you got to pay it. And you got to hire an extra human to do that.
You do because if
can't
you
just
don't
learn
know
it,
how to,
man, you can't learn it.
no. And I've attempted it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not getting the most out of this. I need to just go a different route, because we were actually using it. We were going to use it for our dialing system and integrate it in, because one of the things that they do very well is when you integrate it into the dialing system, it has a really nice interface for the conversational part. But we figured out with our own developer how to build that. So I mean, it's like I said, this would have been. I wish we would have connected.
Advantageous a while ago. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Well, hey, Scott, I want to thank you so much for jumping on. I know you gave a ton of value. And before we close out, is there anything that you want to leave people with? I'm going to also throw the site up there again so everybody can see it. But is there anything else that you want to leave everybody with before we close out?
No, come to realsync.com. Check it out. Email me if you have questions, scott@realsync.com. Happy to get on a consult call with you, talk about your tech stack. We're just here to help. So we just want to continue to help businesses, continue to grow our solution, and expand, and hopefully automate all your tech that you need to automate it.
Automate your day, automate your life, make it. It's a business solution in a box, which I love, because you've literally boxed everything together so that you don't have to have 10 different systems, because I am that guy that had 7 or 8 different systems all doing different things, and it got to a point where you can only draw so many you can only have so many different arrows going so many different ways before you just get lost in your own map. So that's I definitely appreciate what you have going on. So again, thank you so much, Scott, for jumping on, and for everyone watching, see you same time, same channel next week. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. See you.